Hey guys, welcome to the stream. My name's Brian Craig. If you're new here, please subscribe. And everyone, click that notification bell. And also, please like the video, because I know you're going to like it. Got a lot of great content here. Lots happening, lots to talk about. In case you haven't noticed, I love Trump. What'd you guys think of that Trump rally last night in Ohio? I thought it was spectacular. There's one thing about it I'm going to talk about a little later in the stream. But I thought that rally was spectacular. I watched the whole thing. And just a huge crowd in the Buckeye State of Ohio, my home state. And I'm so happy to see, I'm in Florida now, but I'm so happy to see that my home state of Ohio is MAGA country. I would hate it. I would really hate it if Ohio was not MAGA country. But it is. And I have family in Ohio, and they love Trump. I hear from people in my family, not just in Ohio, even here in Florida and around the country, that never talk about politics, but they do love Trump. They talk about Trump and they're into it. So we got a lot going on here, a lot to talk about on the stream, and thanks everyone for joining me. I'm a little behind on my coffee, so I've had one cup, but usually by the time I go live, I've had, 2 cups. So I've only had 1 cup, and that was just like 10 minutes ago. So this is the second cup, so I'm a little behind. So if I sound a little loopy, I'm just waiting for the caffeine to kick in. Now this story here, I'm very happy about this story with Kamala. And before I get into it and play the audio and we get into the details of it, I know a lot of you will say, because there's a new book out talking about how the Bidens do not, and that's Jill and Joe, do not like Kamala Harris. And a lot of this stuff, you may say to yourself, oh, this is old stuff. We saw this during the campaign. Don't assume everyone knows what you know. You and I, we follow the news all the time, right? I mean, we're obsessed with the news. We're following the news. We hang on the words that's coming out of all the different news cycles and everything. Most people are not. And this division between Kamala Harris and the Bidens, this is beautiful as we're coming into the midterm, and this is just absolutely amazing. So I'm going to talk about this a little bit, and then we'll get into the rally, because I have a question I want to ask you guys involving the rally. There were 2 things in particular that happened during the rally last night with our great President Donald Trump that I want to bring up to you. And I do take calls on my stream. I'll give the number out after I give this story. And if you'd like to call in about the rally, you are certainly welcome. Now, this story is all over the place. And Jill Biden did not want Kamala to be Joe's VP after she attacked his racist opposition to busing during the heated primary. Biden also expressed concerns about her romance with political mentors. See, now this is great stuff. And I'll tell you why this story everyone needs to share this on all of your social media, because a lot of people don't know what you know and what I know about Joe Biden. He's a racist. He was brought up into politics, mentored by Democrat, racist, segregationist. And this is something that's kind of been disappeared. This is very important. So many blacks left the Democrat Party and came to the Republican Party when Trump came down the escalator. And these kind of stories, resurfacing from time to time, help us wake more people up to the racist Democrat Party. And we've always got to take an opportunity when we have a chance to show people that the Democrat Party is the party of racism, of Jim Crow, of segregation, all kinds of things. And the other aspect about this is they didn't like the fact that she was Willie Brown's girlfriend. So this is all great stuff, and you've got to savor it. Remember, President Trump always said that you say what you want about Democrats, they always stick together. Well, that's not so true anymore, is it? Let's go through this story. This is all over the place. There's a big article in the New York Post about it and everything else, but I pulled up the Daily Mail version. First Lady Jill Biden was opposed to her husband's selection of Kamala Harris as a presidential running mate, according to an explosive new book. And you know why that, the real reason, why do you think Jill Biden was opposed to Kamala being Joe's vice president, running mate? Why do you think that is? It's not because Kamala went after him during the debate. That's the cover story. The reason that Jill Biden does not want Kamala around her husband is because she does not trust her husband and she doesn't trust Kamala. She thinks they're going to get it on. Okay? I mean, that's just the way it is. Kamala Harris sleeps with I don't know how much sleeping they do. She goes to bed with married men, Willie Brown. And people forget, Willie Brown, when he was mayor of San Francisco, he was a big deal in the Democrat Party. If you were watching political news back during that era, hold on, the dog wants out of the room. Hold on, guys. Hold on a second. I'll be right back. Come on, Nina. What do you want? You want to come out? Come on, Nina. Come on. Okay. She'll probably want back in a minute. I think she probably wants a drink of water, Nina. But when Willie Brown was dating Kamala Harris, he was one of the most powerful Democrats in the country, the mayor of San Francisco. That's hard to believe now, but it's true. And you would be hard-pressed to turn on Meet the Press or something on a weekend and not either see Willie Brown or a reference to Willie Brown. This was during the Clinton era. And he was a married man. And Kamala Harris dated him openly. As a married man, she's out and about. I'm dating a married man. So Jill Biden was afraid. She's not going to admit this, but I'm telling you, Jill Biden was afraid that Joe and Kamala would be having sex with each other. That's why she opposed it, not this busing stuff. But, hey, whatever. Jill Biden expressed her frustration with the selection of Harris, who lashed out at Joe in the first Democrat primary debate. New York Times reporters Jonathan Martin and Alexander Burns wrote in their upcoming book, This Will Not Pass: Trump, Biden, and the Battle for America's Future. Jill reportedly said in a conversation that there are millions of people in the United States and asked, why do we have to choose the one who attacked Joe and sleeps with married men? Well, I'm adding the sleeps with married men, but, ladies, married women out there. I mean, married women, maybe single women don't get it, but married women, the one woman that they despise above all else, that's not even up to question, are women who sleep with married men. Especially when they're married to a scumbag like Joe Biden, right? At the primary debate in June 2019, Kamala launched an explosive broadside at Biden, who at the time was taking criticism for remarks about working with segregationists. Biden had remarked, at least there was some civility. We got things done. Yeah, that was a good debate. And let me play this. Let me play this exchange because this was a good one. There might be I gotta queue up the video, but this was Star Trek Picard sucks. It does. Yes, I got this shirt actually a couple years ago before the season 1 premiere of Star Trek Picard. I mean, this is this Star Trek Picard. This shirt's not even worthy of washing my car with it. It's not even Star Trek. It's complete garbage. It's not watchable. Do not take this T-shirt as an endorsement for Star Trek Picard. Do not watch it. Okay, let me cue this up. Okay, so this is good stuff. I love this one. This never gets old. This is the Democrat debate, Kamala Harris versus Joe.
A little girl in California who was part of the second class to integrate her public schools, and she was bused to school every day. And that little girl was me. So I will tell you that on this subject, it cannot be an intellectual debate among Democrats. We have to take it seriously. We have to act swiftly. As General of California, I was very proud to put in place a requirement that all my special agents would wear body cameras and keep those cameras on.
Senator Harris. It's a mischaracterization of my position across.
The mischaracterization of my. He can't even talk then. He can't even talk. This is like 2019 and he can't talk.
It's on.
What? Listen.
It's a mischaracterization of my position.
Mischaracterization.
Across the board, I did not praise racist That is not true, number one. Number two, if we want to have this campaign litigated on who supports civil rights and whether I did or not, I'm happy to do that. I was a public defender. I didn't become a prosecutor. I came out and I left a good law firm to become a public defender when in fact, my city was in flames because of the
what city was
assassination
that?
of Dr. King. Number one. Number two, as the Vice President of the United States, I work with a man who, in fact, we worked very hard to see to it we dealt with these issues in a major, major way.
You really see how much he's aged since then, huh?
The fact is that in terms of busing, the busing, you would have been able to go to school the same exact way because it was a local decision made by your city council. That's fine. That's one of the things I argued for, that we should be breaking down these lines. But so the bottom line here is, look, everything I've done in my career, I ran because of civil rights. I continue to think we have to make fundamental changes in civil rights. And those civil rights, by the way, include not just only African Americans, but the LGBT community.
But Vice President Biden, do you agree today?
Here we go.
Agree today that you were wrong to oppose busing in America then?
No,
do you agree?
I did not oppose busing in America. What I opposed is busing ordered by the Department of Education. That's what I opposed.
Well,
I
there
did
was
not
a
oppose
failure of states to integrate public schools in America. I was the second class to integrate Berkeley, California public schools almost 2 decades after Brown v. Board of Education.
Because your city council made that decision. It was a local decision.
So that's where the federal government must step in. That's why we have the Voting Rights Act and the Civil Rights Act. That's why we need to pass the Equality Act. That's why we need to pass the ERA, because there are moments in history where states fail to preserve the civil rights of all people.
I have supported the ERA from the very beginning when I ran for the
Biden, 30 seconds, because I want to bring other people into this.
Look at Chuck Todd's coming in to save the day. Well, so regardless of all of that, this is good stuff because this division in the Democrat Party is anytime there's an opportunity to point out the division in the Democrat Party, we've got to do it because the media are not going to do it for us, okay? And anytime you have an opportunity to show what these people are all about, you've got to take that opportunity and do it. So this new book, which, by the way, this is the same book that told us about our snake, Kevin McCarthy, okay, and everything he did. So the New York Times has a long history of garbage. But this new book, there's been some gems that come out in it. And what I'm very excited about is this review of the division between Kamala Harris calling Biden a racist is going to be in the news cycle. This is in the Sunday news cycle. And the Sunday news cycle in the mainstream media is a good thing because when this is in it, because that's what the Monday news is going to be about. So a lot of Democrats are going to be waking up today hearing that Biden was a segregationist. And you know what? They either didn't know it or they forgot. Hold on. The dog, she's had her water. I think she wants back in. Hold on. Let me see. Hold on. Yes, Nina. Okay. She gave up. Okay. I heard her at the door. She gave up. She'll be back. Oh, man. So this is exciting stuff. This really is. So enjoy the division. Enjoy the division. And, you know, this is, it was scripted on her part, okay? It was not scripted on Joe's part. But this division is amazing because Joe Biden, you can see there how much he's declined since 2019. What's he going to be like in a year and a half? He's not going to be able to functionally run for re-election. She's going to get skipped over. She's going to get skipped over. And that kind of division will help us in 2024 on top of all the problems that they have. All right, now I wanted to talk just a little bit about the rally last night, which I thought the Trump rally was a spectacular rally. Did you guys watch it? I watched it. Come on, it's a Trump rally, right? I had to run out to the store with my wife and daughter. We went to Target. And the rally was going on, so I was walking around Target watching the Trump rally on my iPhone. And you know what? No one said anything to me. I was expecting some stares or some comments, but no. I was even at the cash register listening to Trump at the Trump rally on my iPhone. I couldn't miss a second of it. Oh man, it was a good one. It was a good one. And didn't he not look? He looked great. I thought he looked spectacular. And there was a nice crowd. They did an aerial shot, which I've not seen like this at an outdoor rally before. I don't know if it was a drone or a crane cam, but in the back they did a pull up and you could see the whole rally, and it was a packed house. If you've ever been to a Trump rally, you know what happens. And I've been to, I don't know how many Trump rallies I've been to, half a dozen, 7, I don't know. Well, I've been to quite a few. And the most recent one was about, a month or so ago here in South Florida. And when you go to a Trump rally in person, you get there really early. The last one I went to, I was there about 11 hours before President Trump came in. And you know, you get there and you're waiting around all day, and you have a bit of an idea of, you know, they have speakers throughout the day, most of which you're not interested in, you know, but you're there to get, you know, for Trump. And you know that Trump is coming up soon. So what everyone does at a Trump rally is that's when they make the bathroom break. Everyone, the men and women, they go out, they go to the bathroom. And what the media like to do is they like to take a live shot of a Trump rally about 30 minutes before Trump comes out, and you see a lot of empty seats, and you see people wandering around, and it looks like quarter full. And oh, there's the dog. She's scratching at the door. Hold on, I won't lose. Hey, Nina, come on in. All right. Yes. Come on, Nina. Here, lay down. Okay, right there. There's your My Pillow Pepe. And so what the media like to do is that like 20, 30 minutes before Trump comes out, show the empty seats while everyone's taking their pee break and say, look, the rally's empty. It's empty. It's any Trump rally. If you've been to one, you know what I'm talking about, because no one wants to have to get up and pee while President Trump is talking. And you don't know how long he's going to talk. He might talk for an hour, or he might talk for 2.5 hours. So the media, of course, they're very dishonest about it. But you know, when a Trump rally is going on and Trump is speaking, it's just a sea of people, just solid people. But they don't like to show you that. There's two things though that I wanted to mention about the Trump rally, and I wanted to ask your thoughts on this. And I'm going to put the phone number, if you'd like to call me, because we do take calls live on the stream. It's a different call-in number than I use on the radio during the week, so I'm going to put it in the chat room. And you can call, because I want to hear your thoughts on this. 561-453-0328. I'm going to pin this number to the top of the chat, and I'd like to hear your thoughts and your comments on some of the things I'm going to bring up about the Trump rally. 561-453-0328. There was a third thing that I saw someone in the chat room mention a moment ago that I didn't pick up on. Because, and now to think about it, I didn't hear. Did President Trump mention Disney or Governor DeSantis? I didn't hear that. So I don't know if he mentioned that. But there were two things in particular I wanted to talk about. First is J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance. You know, President Trump, of course, endorsed J.D. Vance. And let me see if I can play the audio of him talking about J.D. Vance. And J.D. Vance voted for Hillary Clinton in 2016. He that text message from his friend surfaced a week or so ago where he was comparing Trump to Hitler and saying he would be the American Hitler and all these things. And I did watch earlier in the day at the rally last night, I watched the entire speech of J.D. Vance. And then President Trump came out and endorsed him. Wait a second, I clicked the wrong thing that I wanted to play here. Hold on. Let me see here. I clicked the wrong video. Hold on, let me see if I can pull this up, because President Trump endorsed J.D. Vance. Okay, I'm pulling it up now. So President Trump endorsed J.D. Vance. Did any of you catch J.D. Vance's speech earlier in the day? He spoke twice, okay? He did his own speech, and then President Trump brought him up during his portion, and he talked briefly. And let me play President Trump's endorsement of J.D. Vance, and then I'll share my questions and my thoughts. And I'd like to hear all of your thoughts on this as well. So this is President Trump. This is last night in Ohio, and he's endorsing J.D. Vance here at the rally.
Pleased to introduce the man with, by far, the best chance to defeat the radical Democrat nominee for the U.S. Senate this November. And you know what? You know what? He's a guy that said some bad shit about me.
That's for sure.
He did. But you know what? Every one of the others did also.
Someone asked if I could get to what the main idea was of the stream. I talked about that right at the beginning of the stream, the Kamala Harris betrayal of Biden. So if you rewind to the beginning, you can hear that. But anyway, this is President Trump's endorsement of J.D. Vance.
I'm very pleased to introduce the man with, by far, the best chance to defeat the radical Democrat nominee for the U.S. Senate this November. And you know what? You know what? He's a guy that said some bad shit about me. He did. He did. But you know what? Every one of the others did also. In fact, if I went by that standard, I don't think I would have ever endorsed anybody in the country. You want to know? They all said bad, but they all came back. But I will tell you, he was tough, but the others were tough, and a lot of them said some really bad things. And ultimately, I put that aside. By the way, he's been incredible in the last period of time, long period of time. And so have the others, for the most part, I guess in all cases, the others. But I have to do what I have to do. We have to pick somebody that can win. And this guy he's tough, he's smart, he's a former Marine. He's a Yale-educated lawyer, a great student. Went to Yale, got a law degree. He's a great student. He's a fearless MAGA fighter. He fights like crazy, and he loves Ohio, and frankly, he's a great Buckeye. So what I'd like to do is ask J.D. Vance, come forward. I want to pick somebody that's going to win.
Okay, so that's President Trump's endorsement of J.D. Vance last night. Okay, now I'll say this. Of course, I am never going to criticize President Trump. I will never disagree with Trump. You'll never hear me criticize President Trump. And I say that with pride. I mean, I love this guy, and he knows more about the situation of everything going on than I do. So I do trust in Trump. But this is a more difficult one, okay? I watched J.D. Vance speak. I watched his entire speech earlier in the day. In fact, I got a text message from a good friend of mine who, let me see if I can pull this up. I don't want to say what their name is because they're a member of the media, and they may not want me to share the private text with you, but with who they are. But I can read it to you without saying who they are. But they're a member of the media, and they said, J.D. Vance on stage now. I think he's a good choice. And this was a member of the media that texted me during the Vance speech. And I watched the whole thing. I was watching it when I got that text message. I don't believe J.D. Vance. I don't trust J.D. Vance. I think he's a liar. His speech, he hit on all the MAGA talking points, like boom, 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 whatever they are. And then when he came up and that was during his speech on his own. And by the way, call me here live. I pinned the number there at the top of the chat if you have opinions on this either way. And then I did see when he came up with Trump, when President Trump invited him up, and he expressed his love for President Trump. Now, I love President Trump. I know you guys love President Trump. But J.D. Vance is different than some of these other never-Trumpers, okay? Glenn Beck and Mark Levin are the two examples I'll use here, all right? Mark Levin and Glenn Beck did not support President Trump in the first run okay, when he was running again in the primary, when he was running against all those Republicans. I think, I could be wrong about this, but I think both Glenn Beck and Mark Levin supported Ted Cruz during the primary, okay? But after the primary, they came around and they supported Trump, all right? J.D. Vance in that campaign not only was critical openly of President Trump, he voted for Hillary Clinton. Mark Levin and Glenn Beck, they still voted Republican. They voted Republican in the primary. They didn't vote for Trump. And they were, and believe me, I'm not happy about that. I have not forgotten about those guys, okay? There's never Trumpers, and then there were real never Trumpers. And there's one name I left out of that, which I'll share in a minute. But Glenn Beck and Mark Levin always supported Republicans, never Democrats. And this isn't something that was like 20 years ago, okay? This is the 2016 campaign we're talking about here. So in 20, and this is what I'm asking you guys, is this transformation of J.D. Vance real or not? I don't believe him. I think he's lying to President Trump. How can you go from ready for Hillary and actually voting for Hillary Clinton? I mean, think about this. Voting for Hillary Clinton with everything that the Clintons have done in their lives? How can you go? Levin voted for Cruz in the primary. Okay? How can you go from being ready for Hillary? I mean, think about what that means if you're ready for Hillary, right? Not just some of the basic things, open borders, high taxation, right? You know, giving the uranium deposits, 20% of them to Russia, and look what's going on with Russia today. Abortion on demand, even late-term abortions. I mean, the list goes on and on with Hillary Clinton. So how can you go from ready for Hillary to your love of Trump? And my opinion is I trust in Trump, believe me. But J.D. Vance is there to screw Trump. That's like this Kevin McCarthy creep. Good morning. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Oh, I think I hit. There we go. Let's take another one. Good morning. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. This is Nick up in Baltimore.
Hey, Nick in Baltimore. Yeah, so what are your thoughts on J.D. Vance?
I don't trust him. He's as dependable as Fox.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You turn on a dime.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Well, I listen, it is possible to go from being a liberal to a conservative. When I was a kid, I was a liberal. I didn't know any better. Candace Owens was anti-Trump, big time at one point. And then she, but there's with J.D. Vance, what happened? What's the transformation? What happened in his life?
I mean, maybe he is sincere, but, or is he riding the coattails? The telling thing is, if you watch while J.D. Vance was speaking, did you see the look on Trump's face?
I didn't notice, no.
He wasn't really smiling, and then he smiled later. But
really,
when he first starts talking, how Trump is usually in back there smiling, and he wasn't doing that. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't trust him. I only trust Trump. I'm sorry.
Well, I trust Trump, and I understand what President Trump's doing with Vance and Dr. Oz in his mind. Okay, what he's doing is he wants Mitch McConnell out of leadership. So he's gotten promises from Dr. Oz and Vance, I'm guessing, to not support Mitch McConnell retaining his leadership position in the Senate.
You ought to get rid of Kevin McCarthy too.
Well, that was the other thing. President Trump, unless I missed it, did he talk about Kevin McCarthy last night?
No.
And
bring him up.
This story that he's not upset at Kevin McCarthy, I don't buy that for a minute. I think he's pissed off beyond imagination at Kevin McCarthy from that tape.
I think so too, because he didn't even mention him.
Yeah.
So that tells you right there.
This thing with J.D. Vance, okay, I mean, if this were back like when he was in college, okay, But we're talking about 2016. He's calling Trump Hitler, and he voted for Hillary. And you got to understand, that's beyond personality. The Clintons support everything Trump is against, the complete polar opposite. And how you go from that to talking about loving. When I heard J.D. Vance talk both times, his speech when he came up with President Trump, I felt like he was just hitting on talking points that would get MAGA cheer. It wasn't real.
Right. That's how I felt. And let me tell you just one thing in closing. If you go after President Trump or anyone, you call them Hitler. How in the heck is Trump Hitler? I'll tell you who Hitler is, the guy you have in there right now, and Obama. That's Hitler.
Yeah. And by the way, I'm going to throw Mitch McConnell into that since he's in league with the CCP.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, the collusion is right there in front of us in the White House. My favorite video, Brian, before I go, is the Easter Bunny one. I had never seen that. I saw that yesterday.
Oh, that one's... Well, we found out who was in there was a woman who's a bit, who works at the White House, and her job is she's the chief messaging strategist for the Biden administration, which means propagandist.
Well, she sent a message that day, didn't she?
Yeah, that the Easter Bunny's running America. All right, take care. Nick in Baltimore, thanks for the call.
Have a good one.
Yeah, and you're all, by the way, welcome to call in. The number's pinned at the top of the chat. I understand what President Trump's doing, and it's very important. We've got to get Mitch McConnell out of the leadership position. He is not just a supporter of the CCP. He's married to it through his wife. And the Trump agenda, as much of it that was accomplished in President Trump's first term, it was not fully accomplished in large part because of Mitch McConnell, more so than even Pelosi and Schumer. Mitch McConnell. So, but I just have in my mind that J.D. Vance is going to win. I think he'll win. He's gonna. It looks like he's going to get win the primary, and if he wins the primary, he'll win, and he'll run around for the rest of the year telling us what we need to hear. And you know what? He may even tell us what we want to hear for a couple of years, and then when Trump is back in office in 2024 for his second term, that's when he may be starting to undermine him. I just don't trust this guy, and we got to be careful. We really do. And but hey, listen, I'm not going to vote for him. I'm not in Ohio. If you're in Ohio, that's a choice that you're going to have to make. Now, I want to, of course, tell you someone who was at the rally, the Thomas Edison of sleep, right? The inventor of the MyPillow, Mike Lindell, who's a great supporter and sponsor of all of my content. And if you would like to support everything that I do, which is this YouTube channel, my podcast, the Steve Kane Radio Show, and of course, all the great work that Mike Lindell is doing, go to mypillow.com, use our promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E, and save up to 66% off. There's incredible deals. My wife ordered, and we just got a new set of the MyPillow towels. We now have them in blue and white. I thought she was going to order purple, but she ordered white. And this morning when I showered, I dried off with my MyPillow towel, and it is just a perfect towel. These make great Mother's Day gifts. The regular price, $79.98. With our promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E at mypillow.com, just $39.99. And these are great for Mother's Day. And if Mom lives out of town, have them delivered right to Mom's house. The MyPillow 100% Giza Cotton Dream Sheets, I have these as well. And, these Giza Dream Sheets of Mike Lindell's perfectly regulate your body temperature. No matter what the temperature is, outside or in the room, your body is the perfect temperature under these MyPillow 100% Giza Cotton Dream Sheets. 60% off with the promo code KANE, as low as $39.99. Great for yourself, great for Mom on her day. Of course, the MyPillow bathrobes, my wife and I both have these, and they are right now. Hey there, caller. Hold on. Let me finish telling people about Mike Lindell, and then I'll. Oops, I hit the wrong button. Call me back. I hit the wrong button. The MyPillow bathrobes. I have the gray one. My wife has the white one. You see, all these colors are in. They come in many different colors. 30% off with the promo code KANE at checkout. K-A-N-E. Great for Mother's Day. The My Pillow My Slippers, these are just 3 of the styles. There's many more styles and colors, 50% off with our promo code Kane. And right now, as I'm speaking to you, my dog Nina is sleeping at my feet on her My Pillow pet bed, which is 50% off right now, the My Pillow pet bed with our promo code Kane at checkout. Now, there's many other specials there. You can take advantage of all of the specials at mypillow.com with our promo code Kane at checkout. All right, that's Kane. And it's a great way to support everything that I do, as well as everything that Mike Lindell is doing, which is just incredible and phenomenal. You know, this is really a story that really ticks me off. I got to tell you, this praying at school. Supreme Court's going to hear a case of a high school football coach fired for praying at the 50-yard line after a woke mob complained. You know, when I was in school, there was prayer in school. In particular at football games. There was always a prayer before football games. And by the way, you're still welcome to call in. The number pinned right there at the top of the chat. You can call in live, 561-453-0328. Call me live on the stream. And I imagine a lot of you remember a day when you could pray in school. But the prayer before the football games, you know, one of the reasons that was such a big to-do about a prayer before a football game is because football's dangerous. And, you know, the prayer is before that. When I was in high school, there was a kid on our JV team who was injured in practice before the school year began. So it was between his 8th grade and 9th grade year. Before he even officially began high school, he made the JV team. He was paralyzed in practice over the summer. And football's dangerous. And prayer before a football game is, if there's any place to have prayer, that's where you want to do it. You want to pray for the safety of the players. But one thing about the prayer before a football game and prayers in school, and I know a lot. Do any of you guys remember when there was prayer in school? I do. You know, they're generic prayers. They don't pray to Jesus. They're generic prayers to God. And that covers all the religions, except, of course, the atheist. It covers Christians, Jews, Muslims. I guess it doesn't cover atheist and Scientologist, but and Buddhist. But how many of those are there in your average school? And this is just really disgusting. Let me get a little details on this. On Monday, tomorrow, the U.S. Supreme Court will hear Joseph Kennedy's case, claiming that the school district violated his freedom of religion. Kennedy, a Marine, served as an assistant football coach. He was pictured leading students in prayer on the midfield in 2015. The district said he was allowed to pray by himself, but after repeated instances of praying with students, his contract with the district was dropped. The district said that officials received threats and hate mail due to prayers and argued that he was influencing students to join in. He maintains that he never pushed anyone to join him and that he's been praying on the 50-yard line since 2008. Who are these people? It's interesting how the school, they're not concerned about the people that are making the threats. They're concerned about the guy who's leading a prayer. And, you know, I remember when this was in the early 80s, when the left went to the court to get prayer out of public schools. You used to be able to pray actually in school, in the classroom, and sometimes teachers would be involved in this. And, you know, this is, when they took prayer out of the public schools in the early 1980s, when Ronald Reagan was president, when this was really being debated hard, they you know, what these leftists did, we're seeing today the result of with kids. But what they did was they changed it where, okay, students can go pray without a teacher. Teachers and coaches can pray if it's not on school time or school hours, all these things. And they virtually ended prayer in school. And I can remember one instance I've talked about before on the show. Some of you probably heard me talk about this. I remember like it was yesterday. We used to have regular prayer in school. The last time I remember a prayer in school, and it may have happened since, other than a football game, okay, because they did do them before the football games. But I'm talking about like in the classroom. You guys, actual prayers in classrooms, I can remember in public schools, was after the barracks bombing in 1983 in Beirut. I remember the principal coming on the loudspeaker during the morning announcements. There was a prayer and a moment of silence after the prayer. That's the last time I remember that. And that was 1983, and I was in 7th grade. But there was one instance I remember in the 5th grade. When I was in 5th grade, there were these two guys from one of the local churches who went classroom to classroom throughout the entire day, handing out pocket versions of the New Testament red letter edition. Just the New Testament. Didn't have the Old Testament in it. They went into every classroom and said, hey, we've got these New Testament pocket Bibles. If you would like one, raise your hand. They had them in a box, and they gave it to you if you raised your hand. Of course, everyone raised their hand. And if you did that today, you could probably get arrested. But here we are. That's when that first started happening, right, in the early 80s. Here we are 40 years later, and look what's happened. They took God out of public school. There's no prayer, no religion in public school. America's a Christian country. I know they say Judeo-Christian, but this is a Christian country. And now what do we have? We have TikTok. TikTok, and what you see on TikTok is the result of, taking prayer out of the public school. And that's a reality, folks. And if they would not have taken prayer out of the public schools in the 1980s, you wouldn't have these crazy kids with their perversions on TikTok today, which is completely out of control, if you haven't noticed. And that's what the liberals want. Liberals, a lot of times, people don't think liberals are patient people. But you know what? They are patient people, and they do these little things. And then conservatives typically concede and give in to them, and then you find out 10, 20 years later. I mean, look at what happened with the Boy Scouts of America, right? There was this bizarre push to have openly gay men as Boy Scout leaders. Now, I was in Scouts when I was a kid, and, my position was that, well, why would anyone want to be a Boy Scout leader who doesn't have a kid in the troop? And when I was in Scouting, and I know some of you guys, any of you guys ever were Cub Scouts, Weeblos, or Boy Scouts? I didn't make it past Weeblo, but but anyway, it's Bobcats, Cub Scouts, Weeblos, and then the Boy Scouts. And I gave it up during the Weeblo phase, which is what, 11? 11, and then I can't remember how old or when you actually, is it 11 or 12 when you become the Boy Scout from the Weeblo? Weeblo means We Be Loyal Scouts. But we had den mothers. The den mothers were always the mother of a kid in our little troop. The guys that ran the entire Boy Scout troop, we had our monthly meetings, they were always a dad of boys that were in the troop. So this whole thing of having men of any kind that don't have kids in the troop being Boy Scout leaders seems bizarre to me anyway, with the exception of Eagle Scouts. Okay, if you're an Eagle Scout, that makes sense. But if you're not an Eagle Scout, come on. And look what happened, right? Concessions were made. Okay, we're going to allow these single, openly gay men to be Boy Scout leaders. And then all of a sudden they made an activist thing out of it, where the Boy Scouts themselves openly gay Boy Scouts and all this stuff. And look what happened. There's no more Boy Scouts. The Boy Scouts don't exist anymore, really, right? They let girls in. There's like 12, in it now nationwide. Liberals destroyed the entire organization of scouting in this country. And it happened because we conceded and let them get in, and they destroyed it. And that's a sad thing. That's a sad thing. Because, Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts, Weeblos, you learn a lot of cool stuff. Citizenship, responsibility. We had the derbies with the wood cars we would make and race them. What were those called? Those little wood cars. Anybody remember those? You learn all kinds of stuff. And it was a great organization, and it's gone. It's gone because of liberalism. And liberalism, they exist, but not like they used to. They let Girl Scouts in them, and it's a tiny organization now. The Boy Scouts used to be a massive organization with, I don't know, 1 out of every 3 or 4 boys in my class growing up in elementary school were Pinewood Derby, were in scouting. If you went to your local public school today, how many of the boys in that school are in scouting? Not very many. They destroyed it. And that's what liberals do. Liberals destroy everything you make a concession on and let them get into. All right, good morning. You're on the air live. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Conscious. How you doing, man? I called you a couple of days ago.
Oh, okay, Conscious. Yeah, you called me on the radio the other day. Yeah, what's up?
How you doing today? You all right? Happy Sunday to you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm always great. How are you?
Good. I was watching and you were talking about prayer in school, and I was wondering why you think people get so caught up in religion in this country, especially when Thomas Jefferson sent that letter to the Dansbury Association in 1802 about the separation of church and state.
Yeah, a letter. So this is interesting. This is interesting. So let me just ask you, because I want to respond. I just need a little background. You're African American, right? You're black. You're black. You're black. Are you black?
No, I'm an American.
Come on. It's okay. You're black.
Are you white?
Yes.
No, you're not. No,
oh, I'm not white.
You're the color of white.
Okay. Now he knows this is. I'll just don't go anywhere, Concha. I'll just tell this to the people that are listening to this conversation. He knows where I'm going with this. I love how a black man in America is going to take a private letter by Thomas Jefferson and hold that up. Okay, hold that up as something we should guide our country by. When, of course, when the liberals aren't praising Thomas Jefferson with this letter, they're telling you that he was a rapist slaveholder and that all the government documents he was involved in are irrelevant. The separation of church and state, which does not exist, when what founding document gives Americans freedom of religion?
What founding document? There is no document.
Sure.
That's the whole
Bill of Rights.
Of
The Bill of Rights. Where is the Bill? Excuse me. Where the Bill of Rights? What document? What document is the Bill of Rights in? What document contains the Bill of Rights?
What document contains the Bill of Rights?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. You tell me.
Oh, you don't know?
I'm a play stupid. That's why my name.
Oh, you're plain stupid? I don't think you're plain stupid. I think I don't think you're stupid. You're just not informed. You're just not educated. The Bill of Rights are the first 10 amendments of the United States Constitution. Okay?
Really?
You didn't know this? You didn't know? Are you in America? Where are you calling me from? Canada?
No.
The Bill of Rights are the first 10 amendments of the United States Constitution.
What's that got to do with the separation?
Well, because there is no separation of church and state.
So that letter never happened. So
whatever letter you're referring to is not a founding document.
Thomas Jefferson was explaining to.
But that's not in the Constitution.
You ain't even let me finish.
Okay, go ahead. Finish. All right, go ahead.
I'm saying he sent the letter in response to the bishops asking about the definition of churches, because it was in there, the definition of church and state. And Thomas Jefferson replied that the government has no religion so that the people can practice any religion that they want.
That's called freedom of religion. That's not separation of church and state. Okay. Now let me ask you this: What founding document did Thomas Jefferson? See, this guy, he's afraid. What founding document is Thomas Jefferson credited as the author of?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Is it the Bill of Rights?
No. Thomas Jefferson did not write the Bill of Rights.
What is it, the 13th Amendment?
The 13th Amendment, that's part of the Constitution. Thomas Jefferson was part of the Continental Congress and is credited as the author of the Declaration of Independence, which was signed July 4th, 1776. That is not the Constitution. Thomas Jefferson did not write... Well, because Thomas Jefferson didn't write the Constitution.
What does that have
He
to
wrote
do
the
with
Declaration of
separation
Independence.
Church and state, though, bro?
Because
And
the
that's
the Constitution of the United States gives us freedom of religion. It does not say anything about separation of church and state, and that's our founding document.
So I'm making up that letter.
The letter is irrelevant. It's not binding.
The letter is real, though? Would you say that the letter is real?
I have heard people reference.
1802.
I've heard people reference letters of Thomas Jefferson about the church. Yes, but that doesn't. It doesn't matter.
So the letter is real. This is coming from his own mouth.
Well, a lot of people have opinions that were president. You know, Biden and Obama and Clinton will tell you that there's separation of church and state. It doesn't mean that the Constitution says that. Thomas Jefferson wasn't part of the Constitution.
Right, the Constitution doesn't mention church and state at all.
There's no separation of church and state.
That's why Thomas Jefferson sent the letter, because
the letter doesn't matter.
In Connecticut he didn't understand, so that's why Thomas Jefferson sent him the letter.
Okay, you're wrong.
I have no reason to lie to you, man.
No. I'm not saying you're lying about this letter. What I'm telling you is a letter of Thomas Jefferson has nothing to do with our constitutional guarantees, is what I'm telling you.
So is there a separation?
I mean, no.
No, there isn't. So the government is interlocked with the church. Is that what you're saying?
In fact, if you read our founding documents, no, the problem is there was, during the time before this was a country, okay, when we were part of, the British colonies, the British have the Church of England, which still exists today, okay? And you had to be a member. It was the official church of the government, the Church of England. And the freedom of religion simply says that there will not be a church of the United States, that there is not a church, there is not a religion that is going to be established by the government itself, that you have freedom of religion. What you're talking about is freedom from religion, which you do not have a constitutional guarantee to have a freedom from religion. Separation of church and state is made up. It's a liberal urban legend.
You said we don't have a right for freedom of religion.
No. You don't have the right to have freedom, you have a freedom of religious expression. You don't have a freedom from, F-R-O-M. You don't have a freedom from religion, which is what liberals are talking about.
What do you mean? You can be an atheist in America.
Yes, you can be.
You can believe in the frog as your God.
You can.
You can be free from religion. What are you talking about?
What I'm saying is that you do not have a constitutional guarantee. When I say you don't have a freedom from religion, what liberals are saying is they want to have. They don't want religion to be shared with them at all. Liberals believe that the separation that they've created this legend that there's a separation of church and state in the Constitution, which does not exist. That they have a freedom to never hear anything about any religion, and that's just not the case.
Liberals they don't practice religion.
Some do, like Joe Biden.
Yeah, so that's generalized. You can't say that, man. I think that's our problem.
Okay. Hey, listen, Conscious. I'm going to move on, but hey, listen. Thanks for the call. Appreciate the call. All right, take care. We'll talk again. Oh my goodness, he didn't even know the difference between he didn't know where the Bill of Rights was located, and he's a constitutional scholar, but didn't know where the Bill of Rights is at. Oh my goodness. See what they've done. One of the reasons that they've taken social studies and government out of public schools like we all grew up with is they want a lot of confusion. And most people in this country, sadly, don't know the difference between the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. They get all these things confused, and they don't know what the hell they're talking about. All they have are these left-wing talking points. Now, this is actually an interesting story here involving Joe Biden. Ukrainian refugees make last-ditch attempt to enter the United States from Tijuana as Biden's midnight deadline looms to block Ukrainian refugees from crossing the southern border and force them to apply online. So, why do you think the Biden regime is stopping Ukrainian refugees from crossing the U.S. southern border from Mexico? First off, how did they get from Ukraine to Mexico? Interesting, huh? Why is he doing this? Why do you think? I have a theory. You know why? They're white. I was talking on the stream yesterday. The reason that the Democrats have a completely open southern border, there's many reasons, okay? But the main reason is they're trying to make the United States less white. The Democrats believe that what's stopping them from total dominance, total power in our society, are all those white people that were at the Trump rally last night in Ohio. And if they can make the country less white, the Democrats will control everything in the future. This is a long-term game, like the taking the prayer out and destroying the Boy Scouts of America. Ukrainians are white. That's the only thing I can think of. Hundreds of Ukrainian refugees. Now, regardless of what your opinion is on the war in Ukraine, Biden's a big supporter of the Ukrainian effort, and he's not allowing them here. Hundreds of Ukrainian refugees are now gathered in Mexico. They face a deadline of midnight Sunday, that's tonight, to safely cross into the United States before the Biden administration closes the border to them and forces them to apply for asylum online from Europe, even though they're in the Americas now. Under a new program, the U.S. says it will streamline refugee applications for Ukrainians and others fleeing the fighting. When they were emptying out Afghanistan with people, there were no applying, no background checks. They just let tens of thousands of Afghans here. You didn't know who they were. You've got tens of thousands of people coming across the southern border nonstop right now as I'm speaking to you. But these people are stopped. There's got to be more. There's more to it. Oh no, there's all of a sudden with Biden, there's a process. And part of this also is I think Biden is a little afraid, of Ukrainians coming here, because if they come here, some of them might talk about him in Ukraine and his business dealings with Hunter. Now, here's a woman who's I think she's at the southern border. She's a Ukrainian lady.
So tomorrow, at midnight, from Sunday to Monday, the border is going to be closed, walk-in border, and I would say all borders in Mexico, walk-in borders for Ukrainians, will be closed. That's what we've been told from the government, U.S. government, and we are telling everybody sharing. So if they can stay in Europe, better do so. But if they're already on the way and they cannot come in time here to Tijuana, our team is already in Mexico City, and we will help those people there. Of course, everybody upset, because people bought tickets in advance, and there was no chance to buy tickets.
So this is what Biden's telling us, okay? So the Russians are just destroying Ukraine. Women are being raped and everything else. And women like this need to go back to Ukraine, right? Where women are being raped and apply for asylum online there. Another thing about this, that's somewhat interesting question to ask here. If things are so bad in Ukraine, how do they still have internet access? You would think in a war zone that they would cut off the internet access, wouldn't you? The Russians, why have the Russians not cut off internet access? There's another story I wanted to share with you. Let me pull this up. Hold on a second here. I saw this yesterday. I wanted to share this on the stream yesterday, and I forgot. Let me pull this up. There's a group of women that there's a conservative MAGA group of women that have hundreds of mothers running for school boards around the country because of what's happened in Virginia. Remember the Loudoun County School Board? Well, this is in Florida. And I wanted to play some of this for you. Dramatic moment, liberal school board member is scolded by a conservative colleague for setting cops on a woman at a podium and then asking if she had children in the district. Melissa Bakandi was ejected from the school board meeting in Florida on Tuesday. The liberal board chair accused her of insulting members of the school board and asked if she had kids. A conservative member scolded the chair and said the question was inappropriate. Let me play this video. See, they bring the cops in. This is the liberal Democrat chair of the school board, and this is the woman that she threw out. Aren't conservative women better looking than liberal women? Why are liberal women so unattractive? And I don't know. Let's see. Okay, let me cue up the video because I got a question about this that I want to ask you guys involving the school board, and this is a tough question. Okay, I want to ask you guys here. Just let me cue this up. They run an ad before the video, so let me get past that. Okay, so this is what happened. This is the school board meeting where the liberal called the cop on the conservative lady talking. Right, here we go. Oh, hold on. There we go.
Item number 35, revised policy 3.17, proposes that there will be no IEP recordings unless
she's
the parent
fine,
has a disability
right?
or speaks another language. Does this proposed policy put the student first? Who does it benefit? Have any of you board members actually been in an IEP meeting? This contributes to the lack of distrust in our community and decreased
no problem here.
From the
She's
Sarasota
fine.
County School District. With Sarasota County's history of the DJ case and falsifying documents, systemic corruption that has not even been rectified, this does not play well with the public trust.
Here we go.
I encourage you to remain in the sunshine. Put the student.
Okay, now when she says remain in the sunshine, this is in Florida, and we have a law in Florida called the Sunshine Law. Government organizations, school boards and such cannot meet in private. They all have to be in the sunshine, out in public. It's called the Sunshine Law, so that's why she said that.
I encourage you to remain in the sunshine. Put the student and the family first, Miss Jane. Be transparent and allow parents to do what's best for their children. Let them record their IEP meetings. This is not medical information. This is part of the district's duty, and there shall be nothing to hide. Agenda item 29, telehealth mental health services to be added to employees' health insurance. My question is, does this apply to school board members?
Now watch.
Because
it's
at the
start.
last meeting, Shirley Brown was caught on the microphone talking about big balls.
That's the liberal lady.
You're done.
You're done. Mrs.
You're done.
DeConti. You're done. Thank you. You're done.
You're done. This is the liberal lady. You're done.
You cannot go and expound on school board members. I've told you. I've warned you several times. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Now here comes the cop.
Move on.
See the cop? See?
Goodbye.
By the way, how did this woman how does she pass the fitness? Don't they have fitness tests for police officers? This lady cop is she's like morbidly obese.
You were about to say something horrible at Shirley Brown. Please leave.
There's
You've
the liberal
said
lady.
things about me that were untrue. Leave, please.
Oh.
Do you have children in our school district?
Do you think this old lady has children in the school district? Her kids are probably like 55 years old.
Do you have children in our
Point of order, that is not appropriate.
This is the conservative board member.
No way is that appropriate. You don't get to ask people who come to a public meeting whether they have children or not. Period. Way out of line.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
See the cop?
Please leave. You should
Two
please
cops
leave.
now.
Ask her to
3
leave.
cops for this lady. 3 officers. Look at
We're
this.
Recess for 5
Another fatty. They got some fat cops here. What part of Florida is this?
minutes. Leave.
Look at this guy. Jeez, her and this guy. This guy's in shape, but and they're in tack gear. Give me a break. Okay.
Everyone is searching for the right fit.
Yes. Well, the right fit would be hard for those cops to find. They're both so fat. How do you stay as a police officer when you're that overweight? I don't know. This is what I want to ask you about this. You know, these school board meetings, what happens in them, right? You saw this in Loudoun County. The cops swoop in and just, boom, silent speech. And, you know, this is really a conflict, for me, and I think for a lot of MAGA people. Which side are the police officers really on here? You know, because we're Blue Lives Matter, no doubt about it. We support our police, make no mistake about it. However, You look at the last 2.5 years in this country, at what role the police have played in clamping down on our freedoms, right? Too many people in this meeting, police burst in and taking people out of their houses, right, during the lockdowns and shutdowns. Remember this? Police shutting down businesses. Police coming in with overwhelming, ridiculous levels of force with this lady in the school board meeting. You've seen Loudoun County, the one dad up there in Loudoun County whose daughter was raped in the girls' room by a boy who was identifying as something so he could go in the girls' room. The cops beat him up bloody. You know, are the police officers really on our side? Are the police, you know, we support the police, right? Blue Lives Matter, we're friends of the police, but are they friends with us? You know, and what you have with a lot of police officers, a lot of them, not all, you know, I know cops that are very MAGA and everything else, but when you have a lot of police officers, you have people that they're government workers, obviously, and they're liberal. And they like the control. They like the authority. You know, these school board meetings, this is how the Holocaust happened. Okay, I'm not saying that Holocaust is going on here. What I'm saying is when the Nazis came to power, they were able in the early days to go about and do all the terrible things they went on to do because public officials, bureaucrats like school board members, whatever equivalent they had back then, police officers and others in authority went along with it. And, you know, we are always there. When a police officer is in trouble, we are always there for them. But when are they there for us? Right? I mean, this stuff, this is beyond out of control. This woman here was doing nothing wrong. Overwhelming force. And you know, I've seen this in many a school board meeting. And it's not just school boards. I've seen this. I've seen the police threatening to arrest people at my homeowners association meetings. Very much like this. And, you know, we really got to start thinking. I'm not saying we shouldn't support the police because we're law and order people and we support the rule of law and authority. But we've got a lot of problems. The Democrats, it seems to me that the police officers are, in many instances like this one I just showed you, an arm of the Democrat evil machine. And it makes me sick because all these instances we're seeing at school board meetings are escalated by police officers against law-abiding people whose rights are being stomped on by liberal Democrat school board members like this lady and these jerks up in Loudoun County, Virginia. And this is happening at school boards all over the country. Police officers, most of them are liberal. And this one in particular really burns me because it's in Florida. Let me see. It's not in my part of Florida. Florida's pretty big. Let me see. Where was this in Florida? Sarasota. So this is on the Gulf Coast. Sarasota, which is on the Gulf of Mexico. It's south of Tampa and north of Fort Myers, if you want to find it on a map, which surprises me because that's I thought MAGA country, but I guess this school board is not. Oh, man, if you're new here, make sure you subscribe, and everyone, please like the video. Well, homeschooling, you know, I know a lot of people say homeschooling and private school, and fine if you want to do that, but we shouldn't just give up our school boards and our schools because the liberals. We got to take back our school boards, and, you know, we get so wrapped up, for good reason, in the big races, right? House, Senate, the presidency and all that, governors, that's all good. But we've really ignored the local. I mean, look at what's going on with this crime wave in the country. It's just like the school boards, right? The reason there's a crime wave is because George Soros about 10, 15 years ago, and he didn't do this in secret, it was announced that George Soros was going to start getting involved in local level elections with state's attorneys, public defenders, and things like this. And state's attorneys in our local communities are the deciders of what crimes are prosecuted and which ones are not. And we've got a bunch of George Soros radical lunatics that are prosecutors who don't prosecute criminals. And these school boards, well, there's probably a lot of Soros connections to the school boards as well. So while we've been focusing with a lot of success on the higher offices, we've neglected our local offices. And the Soros radical leftists have taken over our school boards, our county commissions, our state's attorneys, and it is, boom, gone to crap, right? And no doubt about it. No doubt about that. Well, listen, guys, I'm going to take off, but thanks for joining me. Those of you that called in today, thank you for your calls. They were greatly appreciated. I also want to thank all of the mods. We have mods here in the chat room now. Thank you for all of your support. Again, if you're new here, make sure you subscribe, and everyone click that notification bell and like the video if you don't mind before you go. And of course, I want to, one last thing before I go, I want to tell you guys, of course, you'll see me tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. I live stream 7 days a week now in the mornings, and Monday through Friday, you can catch me on the radio from 6 until 9 a.m. live streaming here on YouTube. But I also want to tell you guys that the Brian Craig Show podcast is now on all podcast platforms, including Spotify. This is Spotify, the Brian Craig Show podcast, which I co-host with my wife, Kathy. We are on all podcast platforms, right? We're on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, even the smaller fringe platforms. We're also on Audible. You guys have Audible, the Brian Craig Show podcast, which was named the number 3 must-listen-to conservative podcast in America. Number 1 was Mark Levin. Number 2 was Glenn Beck's The Blaze. And number 3, the Brian Craig Show podcast. And I'm on every podcast platform. My wife, Kathy, and I host it, and we've got, our last episode was episode 1262 of the Brian Craig Show podcast. So they go way back, and this is our most recent show. We were talking about Ron DeSantis beating Disney, and before that, our previous episode, Libs of TikTok, and a bunch of stuff. So it's a pretty good show, and you should check it out. So subscribe to my podcast wherever you get your podcast. Just search for the Brian Craig Show podcast. All right, guys? No, I'm on both of those, Freedom Soup. I am on Audible and Odyssey as well. Yeah, no, we are actually on, not a lot of podcasters on Audible, but you can catch me on Audible as well. Yeah, no, I did not misspeak. I know people just think Audible's for books. Well, it's got the Brian Craig Show podcast on Audible, too. That's right. That's right. We're getting all over the place. And by the way, all of you guys who support my content over there, thank you so much for your support. And all my Patreon supporters, thank you guys as well. And yeah, the podcast is awesome, so check it out. All right, everyone, I'll see you all tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on YouTube when I'm on the radio.